Digital music distribution is a delivery of music, sound recording / masters. We know what that is, right? I don't think I'm dealing with, you guys are not babies in the industry, so okay, good, very glad. To online music platforms such as Apple Music, Spotify, and Boomplay. Now, and this is something I've come across, all my time doing talks like this, where some people don't understand, why am I putting my music out there? What is the point of it? Is a long process? Is this, is that? But do we understand why you should be doing that? Yeah, I see you nodding. You want to tell us? Just one. Yeah, why is digital distribution, music distribution important? Why should an artist prioritize that?
They should prioritize it so they can find their audience, provide the music to their audience. Yeah.
Exactly. So exposure to a global audience. We're seeing what's happening with our artists now, right? Very good one. Let me just say water. And what comes to your mind? Thank you. You get. Now it's interesting because someone like Tyler, our music blew up way. And a lot of people don't realize that putting your music on TikTok is part of music distribution. Yeah. And that's one of the best ways you can get your song to go viral. I mean, of course, the music needs to be good. Maybe tie some kind of a dance challenge to it, and it could, go places. So exposure to a global audience. We're seeing that now. Aside from Tyler, we're seeing it with our African artists, the likes of Burna Boy, Wizkid, Davido. Tracking and analytics is a very big one. I know there's a lot of us not maybe a lot of artists per se, but in regards to you getting opportunities, for instance, endorsements, award shows, do you know one thing that they consider? Your numbers. How well are you performing? In terms of your streaming, publishing, all your royalties, what's your number like? That's something to also take in mind. I don't know if any of you have ever thought about that in that regard before. Something important. And you need to have a concise way of presenting your numbers to say, oh, this is where I'm making money, or this is where I have the numbers. It could be in Kenya. Another reason you want to also have your music digitally distributed in regards to tracking and analytics, it would inform you in regards to where your fans are and perhaps where you should be going on shows. So imagine you look at your data, and because you're Nigerian, you automatically think, my fans are in Nigeria, So I'm going to go and look for one university to go and do tour. Or do what they call it in uni. All those touring, Campus Storm and the rest of them. Then you find out that your fans are actually in Kenya. That's where the majority of your streams are coming from. You as an artist and now as a music business person as well, what will come to your mind when you see that? You look, you think it's Nigeria, but then you see your highest streams is coming from Kenya, it's coming from maybe Ghana, it's coming from South Africa. These are your top 3. What would you, say if it's you working alone as an artist, you're independent too, or you have your friends working with you as your management, what should come to your mind?
If I see that my streams are coming more from Kenya, South Africa and stuff, immediately I'll start reaching out to people in Kenya and South Africa and looking for how to visit and push the music more in that direction.
Smart. Yeah. She's kind of just giving us umbrella of what she's going to do, and that could be inclusive of doing radio tours, doing Campus Storm, do you understand, doing some kind of press, doing shows, maybe integrating with the other artists there to see, how can I collaborate? Because I have an audience here. Do you understand? That's something to also think about. Build your catalog and your streams. This kind of ties into your tracking and your analytics. Again, we've talked about award shows. A lot of award shows, and I'll tell you this one for free because I've worked with an award show before. They want to see your numbers. Some categories, for instance, would be like, most streamed song of 2023. Most this, most that, most popular. Maybe they'll call it most popular or whatever they will call it. But a lot of times they use your number. They use your numbers to look at that. They may consult with the likes of a Spotify, a Boomplay, even a TuneCore. I'm talking from a TuneCore perspective. That has happened. It was a Ghanaian artist in question, and 2 TuneCore artists emerged victorious. So something to think about. Better chances of getting discovered and heard. Someone touched on exposure here. So yes, making money. That's the coconut at the end of the day. Making money, AKA. No. The musical, thank you. Royalties. Say royalties. That is what it is. And of course, so much more opportunities that we've touched on already. So now let's go into this. Now, we've heard of music distribution. Well, have we heard about publishing administration, music publishing? If you have, what's one person quickly? Tell me what that is. The way you understand it.
Hello, my name is Nanya.
Hi, Nanya.
I think publishing has to do with getting the royalties for the composition, or like compensating those who were part of the composition of the music.
Yeah, that's a way to look at it. So that's pretty close. So music distribution, publishing, music publishing are two different businesses revolving around two entirely different copyrights, which is the point you made, that generate entirely different royalty streams. So of course we know music distribution is a business of collecting royalties from sound recordings. We know what that is, right? And then you have the music publishing, which is the business of collecting royalties for compositions. So like she said, songwriting, that's an example of composition. So let me break it down a little bit more. So you as an artist, you may sing the song. Doesn't mean you wrote the song, and doesn't mean you're the one behind the beats. That could be completely owned, you understand, by one, the songwriter who composed it, and of course, the, let's say, producer, for instance. So they too can earn something. It's usually the thing that happens with, say, for instance, labels where they give you a song and you sing it. Do you understand? And then you start having problem with royalties did XYZ, but you don't have a clear understanding of what is happening. I know you guys can't see this, so please forgive us. So music publishing administration refers to the business of collecting money for the music that you write. Who gets paid from license use of sound recordings? Does anybody know that? So the license use of sound recordings, we talked about masters, sound recordings. Who gets paid from that? The artist, yeah. So the performance as artists, and the money is usually collected by either a record label, if you're signed to one, or a distributor. Say, for instance, TuneCore would do that if you went through TuneCore. And then who gets paid for the license use of musical compositions, like we've already mentioned? That would be songwriters. Who else? Yes, composers as a whole, anyone behind that. So just keep that in mind. So let me skip over to the cocoa of the cocoa. Cool. So music royalties explained. So we have a few types of royalties that are out there. And what we found is that a lot of artists, a lot of times they don't have a good knowledge of all the royalties. So who here is familiar with all this, every single one of these royalties? Every single one. But you know maybe one or two. Which one aren't you familiar with? Do you know what that is? Okay, we'll explain it. That's why they are here. So music royalties are compensatory payments received by rights holders. Of course, the songwriters, composers, recording artists, and their respective representative in exchange for the license use of their music. So these are just some you will come across. I'm pretty sure there's so much more, but they usually fall under any of these four. So we know mechanical royalties, right? So I'm pretty sure we know that. I don't want to spotlight anybody. So whenever a copy of their song, of your song as an artist is made, your old mechanical royalties. Example would be CDs. I know we don't do too much CDs, but it's still there. Yeah, digital downloads on iTunes, streamed on Spotify, ringback tunes, sample, and of course covers. Typically generated from interactive platforms. So what that means is where someone can go on a platform like Spotify, like iTunes, Boomplay perhaps, and they can interact with your music. What that means is they can press play, pause, fast forward, rewind, skip as interactive platform. And then just look at it another way as your music is being licensed to sell, irrespective of whether they are streaming it or downloading it. So it's being licensed to sell. Now, while performance rights, just think about someone on stage performing your music. That's an example. That's being licensed to play or perform. Let me actually change that to perform. It might be easier that way. Do you get? So anytime someone, let's say you have a song, and someone comes to you, gets a license, let's say a band, and they want to perform it, say, at their shows or whatever, they have licensed it to perform/play your old royalties. What type of royalties? Performance, and they are collected very different way. Now, unfortunately, in most African countries, the collection bodies are not fully set up. However, if your music, let's say you're a Tyler, and let's say you're not with Sonny, and your music is blowing up and people are performing it, typically you want to make sure that you're registered with every collective and performance rights organizations worldwide that will collect royalties, even when it's being played on radio. That's an example of performance royalties. Yeah. So performance royalties, when used in public performances, that's also another very good way to explain it. So live band, radio, banks. You know when you enter GT Bank and you hear, I believe that is it. You know I'm pretty sure, what's her name? Yes, Asha is probably making some serious bank. Because that song has been how many years now? Yes. Exactly. So banks, hotels, and then even something as simple as a saloon should, do you understand, be paying. I'm not sure how well set up it is in Nigeria anymore. I think there was a period they used to harass, Sorry? It's not, right? Yeah, there was a period they were trying to do that, but it's pretty bad now. But I know, for instance, in the UK, you need to get a license to play, music in your store. So that's something to note. So, of course, like we mentioned, interactive platforms, licensing music to sell it. So now the next one I want to talk about is micro-sync royalties. I don't know how many of you own a YouTube channel or have attempted to be a YouTuber. Or a vlog. Okay, they're all smiling. We've all been there, don't worry. Me too. You're trying to put one music that you think you're safe and then, copyrights. They slap you, as an example of what that is. So because you used someone's music that they have licensed through anybody, it could be a TuneCore, it could be just about anyone. TuneCore will slap you once they just identify the content. It's called like a YouTube content ID being used without authorization. That thing that they show you that you're no longer monetized. And now they've changed it where it splits evenly, 50-50, I believe. In the past, they'll snatch all the earnings from it and give it to the artist. It's wickedness, I know. So that's the perfect example of what that is. So micro-sync royalties, when used by creators on social platforms over another content type, say photos, videos, generates both. This one does two things, mechanical and performance rights. We kind of see why that would happen. Because someone owns the composition. Someone owns the sound recording. Do you get? Yeah. Especially if it's set up. If you're both the performer and the composer, that's a different case. You're still earning both. It's coming to just one person. But if it's separate entities that, I wrote the song, you sang the song, you see where it's still generating two, but it's not going to two different people. Compared to if it's just you that wrote the song and performed it, everything will come to you. Do you get? So that's it's pretty interesting. So examples, YouTube, Facebook, and of course, TikTok. And then you have the sync royalties. Has anyone ever heard about sync royalties before? Okay, can you tell us what that is?
So basically having your music played in TV shows, movies, and the likes.
Very good example. We heard about the Wakanda, the latest Wakanda 2, I think. And we saw that Thames, the song Rihanna wrote, Thames was behind it, and I think Burna Boy also had. That's an example. Another example is where you see an artist song used in an ad. Like that. I don't know if you guys remember, I think it's Nivea. That Nivea cream did that. That's what stars do. I don't know if you heard that ad on the radio as an example of sync royalties. So you're using, do you understand, like a sound recorder or maybe even a composition over a different, do you get? It's similar to micro sync. That's why it's called micro sync, because it's that bit different. But this one is when music is synchronized with any other type of content. So another good one is games, video games. That's where a lot of people make bank as well. Yeah, Viva, exactly. You get, there's so many ways. So the most common TV ads, like we've mentioned, soundtracks. Sorry, I'm going to have to move around because I want them to be able to see. This slide will be sent. I'll make sure Cheche will send this around. TV ads, soundtrack, that's Wakanda. Radio, like I mentioned, that's radio ad / jingle. And then video game, so now a very big one. So this is something to keep in mind. Now, they're all collected differently. So typically with mechanical royalties, you go through, let's say, a distributor, or even you're with a label, they help you collect that one. Then with performance rank, micro sync typically, and then sync royalties, that's usually done by a collection body, a collection management body, or a PR, or a performance rights organization that would then send it back through to your publishing administrator. You can also self-publish, but get ready to register your compositions with over 150 CMOs and PROs around the world. That's tasking. So you have the option to do it yourself, or you go to a publishing administrator to do that for you. Something to note. I don't know if we have any questions. I like this to be interactive. So if you have any questions, yeah, just ask.
My name is Michaela once again. Okay, so for an upcoming artist, you talked about getting your performance right, like when someone else performs your song, you get your. Okay, so how do you hold a person accountable when a person performs your song? Like, let's say you do not have knowledge that they performed your song. I know as an upcoming artist, yeah, it's promotion for you. But like when the person does not give you credit or something, how do you prove that, oh, it's my song? Is there like copyright needed?
Yes, you would need that. But then that's where we kind of fall short in Africa as a whole. We heard about COSON, MSON. That is typically what they should do for you. You go to them and have your compositions recorded. And they should actually be the one actively. So if you had any kind of problem, them you should actually talk to typically, to help you resolve that. But then in terms of like, okay, say internationally something like that is happening, that's why you want to have your music registered, let's say with a publishing administrator that can, on your behalf, tackle that issue. So it's, it's one issue that we have. Do we have another question?
Hi, my name is Elena. So I wanted to ask, based on the soundtrack thingy, because I also do soundtrack for movies. I write and I sing. So of recent, I have one that I recently did. So I want to know, like, I'm actually looking to put it out like as an actual song. So is it for both me and the film, or like is there like a dynamic to
It
it?
depends on what you. Was it created specifically for the movie?
Yeah, I wrote it and created it specifically, and
So there you have that. Therein lies the problem, and it's for how long? Is there a duration to it?
what to the
For how long?
sorry?
Like, so did you signed a contract, right? There's some kind of licensing
Yeah,
agreement.
there
So what was the
is.
timeline? Was it lifetime? Was it after 10 years they relinquish
No,
control?
no, it's like a lifetime thing. Okay,
It's a
for,
lifetime
for
thing.
the song for them
For
or
the song
me?
you created for the movie. Do you understand the question?
No, I don't understand. the
So
question.
you made a song for a movie, right?
Yes.
For specifically the movie. It's not like it was your song and they approached you to license it for the movie.
No, I made it for the film. Like I was given the script. I wrote it and I recorded it for the film.
Okay.
So I want to know if there's like a dynamic to it, because they approved of like releasing it like an actual.
They approved?
Yes.
And then what does the royalty split look like? Who gets paid? Do they have a cut to that? Do they have ownership to the royalties
course.
outside? And we'll get to that shortly too.
Yes.
Is there?
Yes.
So that's all
Also
it
the
means. So
dynamic.
whatever you do, anyway you kind of alter or any kind of thing that you do to it, that means they have a cut. You kind of need to review
Absolutely.
the agreement so you don't go put yourself in trouble.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. All right, cool. Do we have any other questions before we move to something in line with what she just brought up?
Hi, my name is Buja.
Hi.
My question is Afrofusion. My question is concerning publishing royalties. So,
Sorry, could you repeat that?
my question is concerning the publishing royalties that you talked about.
Okay.
Okay, so when you write a song,
Yeah.
I worked with a producer, and I don't know. Okay, because of like how, funds are tight as an independent artist, right? So I was recorded for free because we're kind of like friends. But after I wrote the song, he asked for like a percentage of my publishing royalties, which is for songwriters. So is it really dangerous to give out publishing royalties when you like fully composed the lyrics of a song, or how does it work?
And we'll get to that shortly. You want to, especially if you're working with other composers, you kind of want to have something in writing before, ideally, the song is out. Because you run into this issue. It happens all the time. So now imagine that song, and hopefully it doesn't become that. Let me not even say what I want to say so I don't scare you. But you want to make sure before the song goes out. So it's either you're doing it before you guys get to work or immediately after you get to work. But either way, it needs to be before that song is out. Do you get? Because you're going to run into these issues. So now you said the song is out, right? Yeah. How long has that been? A month plot. And what was his role in it again?
He was the producer and he recorded me.
So he can be considered a composer too. So yeah, you might have to come to some kind of an agreement
No,
now.
we've already done that, so I wanted to know, like,
So what was agreed in terms of the split of the royalties?
I have 55%.
You have 55%.
Yes.
So if you have that in writing, then no.
No, there's no problem.
You shouldn't be asking for anything more than what he's agreed to. Do you understand?
No, we decided that after. I just wanted to
So, yeah, go on.
I wanted to the publishing rights are for the producer and the songwriter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can agree. So it depends on, again, what you've agreed with him. So there can be situations where you just pay off the producer and his job is done, but you still have to have something in writing to say that is done. Do you get? So that if you then say you want to get a publishing, he can't come back later and start saying, do you understand that, he has some kind of a stake in this because he was part of do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
You have a similar, I knew we've gotten to the cocoa of the problem. It's always this
Clock is ticking.
It's always, yeah.
Hi. Okay, so for the song I released last month, I paid him for I paid him for the production. Okay. But when I was about to release it, started asking for 40%, which I found. At that point, I had no idea about writing, but now I know about contracts and writing it, so I don't know what to do.
Do you have any kind of evidence anywhere to suggest that he's
That I
relinquished ownership? Do you have something? Because this thing can get nasty very quickly.
It was when I released it, someone told me about having it in writing. So when I sent it to him, it was like he can't sign it.
And this was after the song was out, right?
After the song was out.
Yeah. So it's very, very dirty. I don't know, this kind of a thing. It's always a good idea to also have a legal team or legal person to also guide you through this because, this is where a lot of people get stuck.
My name is Rogue. I'm an alternative Afrocentric musician. Okay, so my question is regards to the CMOs in Nigeria, which is Koson and the likes. So, I believe that, I don't know if we're actively doing anything to change the bodies or work on the bodies because when I release my music, if my music is played in a place like ShopRite, I believe I should be getting, paid through some... Exactly. So, if the bodies in Nigeria are not actively doing the job, if I register with maybe BMI or ask or somewhere else, do they have the right to come down here to collect my music?
So that's typically how it's meant to work. They also would have relationship with the local collective collection management bodies that would send your own earnings over to them and then they pay it out to your publisher or out to you if you're your self-publishing. So yeah, it's a good point, and it's a big problem in Africa as a whole. I think it's probably just South Africa that is not as shaky in regards to theirs with Samro. Ghana's own Gamro is like this. So they're all the same. There's a lot of work, and I think it's you as the artist as well. To the point, a split in an agreement executed by contributors to a song detailing the personal information of the contributors and stating their individual ownership percentage. Performers' percentage stake in the song. It usually includes the song title, collaborator's name, details like the phone numbers and emails. It's particularly important in determining who owns what and who gets what. Now, because I don't have time, I'll get to something very important here. It's important to note that this is not set in stone. This is kind of like a summary of an ad document, which I want to get to because we can't finish, which is your collaboration agreement. This is a lot more detailed. So this, unlike the split sheet, which largely focuses on specifying the ownership percentages of the collaborators in a song, the collaboration agreement is a more comprehensive agreement between the collaborators in a song. So this is a better. So just look at your split sheet more like summary of this guy, in a sense. This is where you get all the signatures and stuff like that. So the agreement stipulates the rights and obligations of the collaborators pertaining to the song, stipulates how each co-owner should be remunerated, and states the terms relating to the various ways the song can be exploited. I think we brought up something, I don't know who asked that question, that wrote a song for a movie. Exactly. And now you kind of want to do something else with it. So this I'm assuming that was a doc you signed with them, something like this, a collaboration doc. So you want to make sure you have something like this in place. So when to sign a split sheet and collaboration agreement, although there is no hard and fast rule for when to sign a split sheet, don't listen to that even though it's on this doc. The collaboration agreement, it is advisable that the collaborators in a song execute these agreements early in the creative process of making the song or immediately after the song is created. Note this, if you didn't pick anything else today, this is the one I think you should pick. Very important. Irrespective of these two recommended options, it is essential to negotiate these agreements before the song is published and begins to generate royalties, which is an issue you're now running into. So this is one thing I'll say you should take. So TuneCore digital distribution, what we do is we collect money derived from streaming and downloads on specific services to which TuneCore distributes for the sound recording. The money is only deposited into one TuneCore account that distributed the music. And then on the publishing side, we collect the portion of the money owed to the songwriter every time their composition is sold, streamed, or played anywhere in the world. Like I mentioned, we'll help you register with all the PROs and CMOs all around the world. There's over like 100 of them. So that's what we'll do. And then we'll help you collect any royalties being generated around the world, which typically should include the local guys here as well. But we know how that site is going. So yeah. So why TuneCore? We've been around for 15 years and counting. Affordable price plans recently launched. How many people know about TuneCore, by the way? Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's lovely. So I should leave this slide. Okay. So, we went from the pay per release to the unlimited. We still have the pay per release still as well. So we have that. Of course, it's 100% of 100% given back to the artist, except for the new artist plan, which is a free plan that distributes your music on social media platforms. Then, of course, localization. I'm here. That is a localization. And then no middleman. Something to note with some of these your other distributors, they don't distribute directly to the stores. Do you know what that means? Because we said 100% of 100%, it means we collect for you and pay you straight. We don't take anything because we're a subscription. But the middleman would take their own before it gets to the distributor that you use, before it gets to you. So is that 100%? Thank you. So flexible and transparent, And then upstream opportunities to our parent company Believe. I think this is one thing a lot of people don't know about. So it was set up in such a way that artists that are performing pretty well independently via TuneCore can have the opportunity to cross over to the parent company where they can offer you more. So think of it as skilling. They can give you a bit more, help you advance your career further. Because at the end of the day, we know a lot of people are still very much interested in labels. So they offer you that label-like, service in a sense. And of course, educational and upskill. I think I'll close it here. Let's leave it at questions. This slide will be sent over for you. Since you've used TuneCore, because you know TuneCore, so you know the distribution process of releasing music, the content review process. That's just what's left in the doc, so let's leave it. So do we have any questions? How many minutes do we have? About 6. Let's use 6 now and discuss. Yeah. All right. Yeah, please. I think I saw her hand.
So many questions.
Yeah. My name is Bami Ori.
Hi.
I'm an Afro soul artist.
Okay.
So I have 2 questions. When you said TuneCore does this 100% of 100%, are you referring to
distribution?
Distribution.
Yeah.
Okay. How about the mechanical?
So that's mechanical. So we publishing is set up differently. That's a separate business from distribution. So what we do is you pay a one-time fee that is used to register you. You're not going to pay that again, and then it's commission. So we take about 15% of any money earned. That's separate from distribution. Distribution is very subscription-based, except for the new artist plan, which is a free plan, because you're not paying anything to get the music on social platforms.
Okay.
But we will take commission about 20% from that. So that's
okay. So also in relation to what producer gets from a song, which is appropriate? Like you're paying the producer, he's getting maybe 5 or 10% on the maybe mechanical, right? And he's also getting so percentage of the publishing. Is it appropriate or is it too much?
Again, it depends on, this is dependent on you as the artist. You get. So you'd have to kind of come to that agreement with the artist. It might be a back and forth, might not be anything. You could tell them, I want, just make this thing, I pay you what you want, and you don't have any control. Make sure you get that thing in writing. Because what happened to her will happen to you.
Okay. And also, you said something about record labels do not have anything to do with publishing, right?
No, I didn't say that. So it depends on how they're set up.
Okay.
So most record labels will have handled this, of course. They'll do, the distribution, marketing, XYZ. They typically may have a different arm. Similar to, it's always like that with all the businesses. So even if they do, their record label, they may have a publishing arm. Not all have that. And that's a separate conversation entirely.
Okay, because the reason I'm very curious is because about 4 days ago, I was having a conversation with someone, like someone that just started managing me. So we're talking about, we want to record a song. I have a producer friend. I want him to come into Lagos, work on a song together. And then the producer friend was like, he's going to get maybe 10% on the mechanical royalty. We agreed. Then he was like, of course, on publishing, he will also get about maybe 50% or something. So then this person was now saying that won't work. They're not going to give him anything on publishing. So, and then over time, I've heard about publishing and how producer is supposed to get a percentage on publishing. So I was very confused.
Typically, they may get, it just depends on what you agree with the producer in question, but typically they also have a cut because they are part of the composition. Yeah, they're part of it, so you kind of need to, figure out, the arrangement.
Hello, my name is Temi Ade.
Hi.
Hi.
What kind of music do you do, Temi?
Afro R&B, I would say. So it's a quick question because I've never distributed my music before. Okay. So what's the time to collect your money from a distribution company?
So the stores have different times that, they send out music, but you could expect it anywhere from, I think, about 4 weeks to about a month, if I'm not mistaken.
Every 4 weeks?
Yes, so they don't, it's not it's trickling in do you understand? It's a kind of, they have what they call it, a payout period, but all the stores are different. So, but then when you have, let's say you're using a TuneCore, everything will just they'll all just be coming in, and your dashboard, which I can quickly scroll through, you can kind of see what's happening. So it will kind of look like this for you. So this is kind of like your sales report. You just see everything coming in, do you understand, into your account. And you can search by stores, things like that, to see what you earned from a store. But they all have different payout periods. Let me call it that. I think that's what it's called.
So another quick question, how much is a stream?
Google. Let me tell you that. Because again, they all have, and then Spotify lately is changing up how they want to do that. So just Google in this case is your friends. Yeah, they all have different way they measure.
Okay, we need to keep it to one question per person.
Yeah, so one
question
per person where others can ask.
Thank you.
No shade, Afrobeat, Afrofusion. My question is about sync licensing. What is the easiest way? How can an artist find sync licensing?
Through publishing administrator. That's if you're an independent, you want to be independent. If you don't have a label, then publishing administration is the route to go. Now, something to note with sync, it's not everyone that will get, it's very competitive, do you get? So what an administrator would do if you put in that, I want my song to be considered for whatever is going on, they will go to, for instance, a Netflix and pitch. Do you understand? To say, okay, we have this. And then if yours is big, because it's competitive, it's limited, so it's not everyone that will get it. But locally, I think the opportunity is a little bigger. I mean, we see sister here making moves. What was that sister? You? Do you understand? There's Ebony Life here. There's Amazon here. Amazon Prime is here. Netflix is here too. Showmax is here. So you just, and I think it's from what I've seen, it's easy to get into a conversation with them. Yeah, just compared to the big dogs.
Hello. My name is Laura, and I am...
Hi, Laura.
Hi. I am an Afropop artist. I wanted to ask, I'm submitting my song to TuneCore. How long will it take for them to distribute it?
Yeah, so there's a content review period. It's usually three days to a week, depending.
Even if the plan is free?
Even if it's what?
The plan is free, the one you mentioned.
Even if, because it has to go through a content review period and anything can happen there. So for instance, the song may be, that's it over there. So it could be rejected because it's being reviewed by human beings. So if the format is wrong, do we know the right format that is typically accepted? It's here. The figure is long, so I can't remember all of it, but let me see if I can find it. So you want, nope. You want to make sure that you're putting it in the right format that is acceptable. There it is. Before you upload your song, you need to match any of these formats. You get. Someone mentioned WAV, MP3, so it needs to match this. If it doesn't, it will be rejected and you'll be notified. That can add delays. And then the thing is, even when it's approved, it's sent to the stores, but then the stores have their own time. Typically a day to two, depending on the store, thereabouts. So that's something to keep in mind. I know you had your brand conversation previously. This is another thing you should consider when you're putting out music in regards to your marketing as well. How quickly would you roll out? All right.
Last question.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Tamashi. I do R&B music.
Hi.
I have two questions, but they are related. I'll be very quick. So first off, TuneCore, does TuneCore help with solidifying your brand identity, like your name? I know that can cause a lot of problems because, yes, like register your name in a sense that, in the sense that, okay, now the second question, switching from distributor to distributor, probably you don't like the former distributor you're using and their terms. There was a distributor I used one time that my name was used, and when I tried switching, it caused a problem because they already registered you as this particular artist. Your song is already out there. So switching, how does it work?
So that's transferring your catalog to a different distributor?
Exactly.
So there's three things you need to consider. Number one, it's not the distributor that will change your name for you. You probably made a mistake during your registration process. So that's something to be mindful of. Then two, UPC and ISRC. Do we know what that is? Please, you're on your way, yeah. Unique product code and your international standard recording code. Consider those things the passport number. One is passport number, one is driver's license for your release. They do different things. When you're moving, so they are like the ID cards, like I've said before, for the releases. So the recordings, the album, the grouping it is, or the type of release it is. If you're moving from one distributor to the other, while you're filling out just the form to upload, there's going to be a place to ask you your UPC and your RRC. You already have it. Put it. Okay. Don't put a new one because that's where
so I just have to transfer that.
Take it as you have previously put it and put it exactly like that in there. Because it's the ID. If you go and put, because they typically, like TuneCore would generate, if you say you don't have a UPC to generate one for you. So now one release has two identities.
Okay, so when I'm switching distribution, I should make sure I
take what you, because you've already been assigned. It's like you're born here. We give you international passports. You go back as another person. They give you another one. That means you're one person with two international passports. Which one should we look at? Do you get? Yes. So that's kind of what it looks like. So just take it as it is. Because if you go and do a new one, then you're creating an entire, that way you're able to track the streams, revenue everything is still going to be. You might not be able to move you can't move your streams and just say analytics from one distributor to the other, but you can still have that record of what's happening, what has happened. Then you go in and create. And then the stores are able to retain it. I think it's more about the stores. Yeah, they still have like the information about it. So don't change it. Yeah. I think we're done.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Was this helpful?
So helpful. I learned a lot.
And thank you. Yeah. I would have kept on rambling.
Yeah.
All right,
but it was
guys.
a fantastic.
So they'll, I think Chair's team will send this around.
Yes, the slides will be sent to, all the slides will be sent to all the participants after now. Thank you so much, Chioma. Another round of applause for Chioma, please, as she gets off the stage. Thank you. Hey, are we having a good time? Did we learn a lot from that? I've said this before, but I consider you participants very lucky because 5 years ago, we didn't have this or platforms where people would come into the industry and then you have people putting you through all these things because they're important, especially because you're women, right? You don't want people to take advantage of you. You want to know exactly what you're doing, so it's important that you take cognizance of these things.